The following movie is rated R.
What's going on, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody is still doing fantastic. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. And I want to talk about this MAGA meltdown that seems to be taking place here, because a lot of people are jumping ship. They're jumping off of the Trump train, and it all has to do with these Epstein files. And it's really showing that a lot of people have a moral compass, and they're drawing the line with the fact that everybody seems to be so reluctant when it comes to the political side of things, the Democrats and Republicans. Let's be honest about it, because the Democrats said that they had the files during Biden's term. So we got to tell the truth there, right? I'm not taking any sides on this. I'm just speaking the facts of it, all right? So it just seems as though that the Republican Party are dragging their feet in regards to releasing the Epstein files. They basically said that they were ready to release them now, but as Jeffrey Epstein's brother said, Mark, they have sanitized that list and took a lot of Republicans out of there. Now they're trying to say that there's Democrats on the list too. If you're an American like me that has a moral compass and you stand against people who violated KIDS, we don't care who's on the list, lock them all up. Now, out of all people, and I have to admit, I was certainly stunned by this. This wasn't on my bingo card for 2025, 2026, or beyond. And that's the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced her resignation from Congress. And so that really, like I said, it was eye-popping for me. I was like, really? But she did. And she's saying that the files is the #1 contributor to her decision. Now, we all know that once she came out and started to denounce Trump, Trump said, oh, you're going against the big dog. I'm not going to support you. So she didn't have a chance next year when it was time for her to be reelected. So of course, you're going to resign just to be like, hey, you didn't push me out the door. I resigned on my own. But what I want to do right here is play you guys some of what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say in regards to her resignation. Check it out. I'll be back.
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest, and the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, babies, because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I've fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars. However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly, resulting in the House not working for the entire time, and we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster. But instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle on television every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home and eliminating H-1B visas. Just sit. They all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media, obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have, they know how much their bills have gone up over the past 5 years, they actually do their own grocery shopping and know food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up and up. They have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house. They have been laid off after being forced to train their visa-holding replacement. The college degree they were told to earn only left them in debt with no big six-figure salary. They see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets. They can't afford health insurance or practically any insurance, and they just aren't stupid. These are the people I represent and love because that is who all of my family and friends are, common Americans. I have been blessed to represent the 14th District of Georgia for 5 years. The district is filled with some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, God-fearing, patriotic, hardworking people you will ever meet. Good, regular, common Americans. I've worked hard to bring taxpayer dollars back home to help district needs. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die as he facilitated dangerous open border invasion into America. And I led the effort to defund hard-left politically biased NPR and PBS and the corrupt USAID, and I did that as chair of the DOJ subcommittee. I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republican to elect Donald Trump and Republicans to power. I traveled the country for years. I spent millions of my own money. I missed precious time with my family that I can never get back. And I showed up in places like outside the New York courthouse in Collect Pond Park against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare. Meanwhile, most of the establishment Republicans who secretly hate him and who stabbed him in the back and never defended him against anything have all been welcomed in right after the election. And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother, it was way too much for all of us. Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas, like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt-for-life 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. America first should mean America first and only Americans first, with no other foreign country ever being attached to America first in our halls of government. Standing up for American women who were at 14 years old used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. However, while yes, hurtful, My heart remains filled with joy, my life is filled with happiness, and my true convictions remain unchanged because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God who created everything in existence. You see, I have never valued power, titles, or attention in spite of all the wrong assumptions about me. I do not cling to those things because they are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And I have fought against Democrats' damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open and safe border policies, and the agenda on children and against women. With that has brought years of non-stop, never-ending personal attacks, threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a single day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me, but especially to my family, but it's been wrong to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being played. When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
All right, so we just heard and witnessed all of that. Now, it's important to note that back in 2021, Marjorie Taylor Greene's net worth was sitting at $700K. But here in 2025, her net worth has jumped significantly and she's worth $25 million. And we know that her base salary didn't get her to $25 million in a span of 4 years, right? The math is not mathing. So there was something done illegally, just like all of those fake politicians indulge in to pad their pockets. I mean, it's clear as day. But let's just say she does have a moral compass and she's exiting because the Epstein files and other things is where she draws the line. I would still conclude that I don't know if she would make the same decision to leave Congress if she wasn't worth what she was worth and had the financial stability to move along and navigate through life comfortably. That's just my opinion. But anyway, let's move along because I want to briefly talk about Candace Owens. She actually tweeted out something yesterday saying that she feared for her life. People are after her. You guys know, if you don't know, she's been talking about Brigitte Macron and saying that she was born a man. I believe that Macron has sued Candace and they're going through the process of the legalities of that now. But she's saying that they have something to do with trying to set her up to be deleted. So let me read to you what Candace posted. So she says, I have informed people in the federal government and the White House of the France and Israeli assassination plot and am willing to provide full details, as well as the name of the assassins and international accounts in France and Canada through which money was exchanged. Beyond that, I have shared more information with the public regarding the Bridget story I was investigating at the time of Charlie's assassination. This is all available on my Instagram stories. Thank you all for reaching out and praying for my family. Now, if this is true, this is a very serious and scary situation for Candace and her family, but it's going to be interesting to see if Trump intervenes. I saw a lot of comments all over X stating that Trump needs to step in and intervene and have Candace's back on this. But if I do recall, she said herself that President Trump had called her and told her to stop talking about the Brigitte story and also to stop talking about Israel, which she elected not to do. And she said that, hey, listen, this is my freedom of speech. I am free to exude and express myself, and I'm not going to stop because I know that I'm telling the truth. So I don't know how that works out, but I will say a lot of people who follow her are starting to question her because they kind of caught her in a lie the other day. I'm pretty sure Candace will probably come out if she hasn't already. I haven't seen if she's come out and explained herself, but she did a podcast the other day and she was reading this receipt that she got from an insider, and she ended up citing her own law firm in Delaware as a secret federal hub. So let me take the time to read this to you all. So it says, on her November the 19th podcast, Owens read an anonymous email claiming an Egyptian Falcon 7 times plane landed in Wilmington, Delaware on September the 10th with passengers to 1 Rodney Square, described as a rare joint FBI DEA Secret Service hub. Social media quickly exposed the address as belonging to Richard Layton and Finger, PA, the firm representing Owens in a defamation lawsuit by the Macrones. Critics called it a prank, noting the building's outdated federal ties but current use as the law firm's headquarters amid Owens' unproven claims tying Egyptian planes to Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Government vehicles either pick up, monitor, or escort every government plane that lands there. So that's the standard. It's every single one. Feds don't just leave foreign government planes unwatched. It's a government plane, not a ghost plane. Someone has to come out, and we all know they're not going to just call an Uber. Given that I know most of the locations that these vehicles visit, I am entirely confident in stating that the plane and those vehicles are connected to 920 North King Street.
All right, so we just heard all of that. Now, I will say this, whether you like Candace or not, she is a pretty intelligent woman. She's just extremely brilliant and smart. I have to give her props in that department. So it's just very crazy to me that if somebody sent this to her trying to prank her, that she would not pick up on the fact that the address that was listed is actually her lawyer's address, which should have prompted her to trash that information and not put it out, right? So now a lot of people are coming to the conclusion that Candace could be making up a whole bunch of stuff to monetize off of the death of her so-called good friend, Charlie Kirk, with one conservative platform saying Candace was running out of Kirk assassination material, so she invented her own assassination to solve. And this piggybacks off of the people questioning if that's even true based off of the findings of this so-called insider that sent her that email where she clearly read her own lawyer's address. And so people are starting to wonder or ask questions like, is Candace making up emails and text messages and so forth and so on? Now, I did just come across where Candace did respond to a lot of people questioning the validity of her story. And she says, looks like another round of a desperate and fake debunking regarding the Egyptian planes. These federally sponsored trends are as fun as they are predictable now. And I can tell you guys with absolutely certainty that today I learned the federal government is in panic about the mention of their joint DHS, FBI, and DEA office at 920 North King Street. The tip proved absolutely solid, and I was informed so. It is now a fact that a foreign dignitary was picked up after arriving from Provo the morning of Charlie's assassination on the Egyptian plane and then transferred to 920 King for some joint operation. And yes, despite the massive office space, there is nothing else in that building except a law firm and a place to eat The law firm piece is an interesting side fact related to portions of the email that I chose not to read on air, yet stay tuned. So it seems as though Candace is standing on business. She's saying that her receipts are factual and she is not backing down, but hey, I want to hear from you guys. Feel free to drop down in the comments to let me know what you think about everything I discussed in this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and if you're new here, consider subbing to the channel. I'll get with you guys later. Have a beautiful day.
Thanks for watching!